Welcome to the Leading at the Next Level podcast with Dove Development and Consulting, the show built to provide ongoing support for your leadership journey. So like we've been doing over the last several weeks, I get the wonderful opportunity this afternoon to chat with a friend of mine that Cindy and I've gotten to know really well over the last several years. Jorge Velasco is currently the CEO of BR Printers. BR Printers is a tremendous partner with our upcoming Leadership Legacy Experience. But Cindy and I got to meet Jorge through his work with another company, I think in about 2021, and he wrote the introduction for my first book, What's Killing Your Profitability, and Jorge took the time to write an amazing forward for my recent book, Leading with Clear Purpose. And we're going to chat a little bit today about Jorge's purpose for accepting leadership responsibility and the impact he's working to make, not only on the team he leads, but also on the world that they serve. And I say that with complete clarity because I know the impact that they make around the world. So Jorge, would you be willing to start a little bit with a background and overview of your professional experience, but also maybe some of what you do in the industry and who you guys reach?
Yes, so first of all, thank you for this great opportunity. Always great talking to you and all the people that follow you. The background, born and raised in Mexico City. So right off the bat, you know where the accent comes from, and it's not from Virginia. I've been in the publishing and printing business all my life. My father was a publisher in Mexico, and I started in printing 35 years ago. And always surrounded by books, always surrounded by the mission of being a publisher or being part of the publishing chain of command, chain of custody, if you will. We were in Mexico for a few years working there, and then we moved to the US 25 years ago, still with a very large printing company. And about 5 years ago, we moved here to Virginia, working for a big book publisher and book printer, Bertelsmann Printing Group. And a year ago, I decided to start working for BR Printers, who's also in the printing business, although more diversified, more into other segments. But at the end of the day, the common denominator is books, either being 100% book printer, or in our case, about 55-60% of our revenue comes from book. It's all about books. It's all about education, children's trade, fiction, nonfiction, professional. And in my case, is part of who I am. It's part of being part of a mission of education, be a part of the mission of communicating the ideas of the writer and how the publisher represents those ideas in the printed product. So it's an extraordinary opportunity to see a lot of people and to touch a lot of souls, if you will, when you are part of this supply chain.
Jorge, in complete transparency, the introduction that you wrote for What's Killing Your Profitability and then the foreword for Leading with Clear Purpose, I was in tears when I read both. And both for very different reasons. One was the impact that we've had and how our relationship's grown. But with Leading with a Clear Purpose, you talked about how whether you agree with or don't agree with what's printed, it's that chain of custody that you referenced. And I just love that. It was so special. And the impact, and quite frankly, the mentorship and guidance you've provided me through that process, because I barely graduated high school when it came to English and grammar and those things. So you've made a tremendous impact on even me in this process. So it's huge to see what you get to do around the world. So thank you for that.
You're very welcome. It's a pleasure.
It really leads me to, and you don't need to do it all, because you get to be part of a panel at the Leadership Legacy Experience. And for the folks that have a copy of Leading with a Clear Purpose, they'll get to hear it in more depth than what you provided in the foreword. But what was really your clear purpose for accepting that leadership responsibility? Because let's be honest, sometimes it would be easier, it would be less stress, it would shave less years off our life if we just said, "Hey, I'll take a job and punch the clock."
Yeah, trust me, there are days that I say that, but it comes from, as you said, the purpose, right? I mean, what is the purpose that we all have in life? Why do we wake up every day, and we decide that it's a great day to be a printer, as we say. And as a very good friend of mine from a different printing company used to tell me when I was working there, every time I talk to this gentleman, Perry Martin is his name, vice president over there at Donnelly at Lakeside Publishing, he would say, it's a great day to be a printer. And I remember when he said that the first time, I laughed, and I'm thinking, okay, this guy, he had a lot of Fruit Loops this morning, but he meant it. He really meant it. And it became kind of a moniker for me to say, why is it important to be a printer, right? And to distribute, and to, which is our case, distribute printed materials and educational materials. And why is it important? Well, first of all, because you are part of an economy that is providing jobs in the United States of America. It's also an opportunity to be part of something even more important, which is what I talked about in the book, which is being part of the chain of custody of the First Amendment, the freedom of speech.
Mm-hmm.
Many of us come from other places in the world. I come from Mexico, where freedom of speech is not as protected, or it is not as cherished as it is in the US. Right, wrong, indifferent of what is happening in the last 4 to 8 to 12 years, we still have the right, and we exercise the right to, for our opinion. We exercise the right to write on social media what we feel. And in the case of our writers, the writers that we print for, the publishers we print for, they have the right to express their views, their imagination, what they are thinking, what their soul is saying, that it's important to them. And we're part of that. We get the content, we transform it into something that can be tangible, so something that you can feel, you can touch, you can smell, and then it goes, of course, to our distribution partners, who then send it to the libraries, or to the schools, or to bookstores, and that's where they start to sell, and that's where they continue this chain of custody. So that's a big why. Okay, that's two big whys, which I think I can, as I'm doing already, can talk for hours about it, because I'm very passionate about that.
Yeah. Jorge, I never get tired of hearing it. It hits my heart every time I hear or read you talk about that, because it's so special. I appreciate that you cherish it so much, and it impacts so many people in the process. You've worked really, really hard. You've done exceptional in your career, but many times Cindy and I see folks move up through the ranks in their organizations because they've done really well in their respective roles, and then they have the responsibility for people. What motivated you individually to learn the leadership aspect, not just management, not just authority, but the leadership aspect, and just as importantly, make sure your team members, and that's how we got to meet, make sure your team members had access to the tools so they could lead and not just manage?
Right. Lead is a call, right? It's something that comes with, at some point in life, it hits you. It's not, I don't believe leaders are born. I believe leaders are made from experience, from desire, and also from pursuing something that they are passionate about. And the key here, and why, how I became, the leader in this case of a multi-million-dollar company, is because we always understood that there was a big case for people to, find common grounds, right? Find the common ground in, why are we doing this? What is the mission, right? And I mentioned this the other day on another interview. I said the mission is something that, we spend a lot of time in the boardroom or in the managers' offices writing something that is really cool and that we're gonna put on the walls. But do you really mean it? Does it really mean anything when you say, I am going to be part of a supply chain that protects the First Amendment? And that's an example. It's not precisely our mission. But so I became really passionate about, how am I going to be part of companies that allow me to share that passion, that allow me to basically go out and say, man, this is something I believe in, and I believe that we can be a better company and we can create better citizens of this country if we apply this mission. And I did that many years ago. I had a couple of opportunities to go to different places in different companies, and I saw great leaders. So that's part of the answer, if I may, which is why is because I had great mentors. I can count them with these hands,
Mhm.
and many of them are going to be probably watching this, and they know who they are, and they make me who I am from a leadership perspective. Were they perfect? No. Am I perfect? God, no. But you take the best from each of them and then decide if you want to follow into that leadership position or not.
Yeah. I love that you said that about the mentors. I try to reference mine frequently. As a matter of fact, in the first interview in this series, it was with a gentleman who cited the fellow that introduced me and you, Devin, as one of his mentors and how much Devin impacted his life. And you'll get to meet him on June 13th. His name's Scott. And yeah, I got off track just like I am right now and almost was in tears because I knew how great of a guy Devin was and just seeing that same passion. So really, really cool how it has a trickle down effect. And I've had a friend say, hey, you'll never know this side of heaven, the impact that you have on other people.
Yes.
And that's true. And we've got to take that to heart. Now, before I ask the next question, I need to make a quick commercial for you. So we've gotten to work pretty closely with your team over the last few months. And I'm going to brag on them about how much I've seen them really embrace what you've explained to this point. So, and I'm going to mention two specific names, but they're not the only ones. Mary Herrera and Andrew Parker. I've absolutely loved our interaction with both because I've watched them internalize what you're saying about this is our I'm going to say fiduciary responsibility to be good stewards and help people share their message. And I love that they get it at their level and they pass it on to the clients that they're serving. So well done, sir.
Well, thank you for the plug. Those, by the way, they are a couple of part of our younger generation, superstars, both of them in their own right. And I love the fact that you're recognizing them. And I will say one more thing about mentorship, if I may, which
Mhm.
is something that I started to practice some years ago, which is to recognize your mentors, to spend some time on the phone with them, just to say thank you. And I happen to be I've been doing this for a while now on Thanksgiving Day. On that Thursday when we're all preparing for big lunches and big meals and big celebrations, I find it a perfect time to pick up the phone and call one mentor and say, "Hey, I remember that you gave me this first opportunity, and I remember what you did for me. So thank you." And it's been super gratifying for me to do that, and I get goosebumps when I think of some of the names, as I said, that come to mind.
Yeah. So for anybody seeing the video side of this, you see me wiping my eyes, and it's because it's bringing tears from them. Because in lesson number 5 of our emerging leader development course, Jorge, that we've done for a number of your team members over the years, I challenged them to write to list 3 specific mentors that have played that role and have impacted them, and then to write a handwritten thank you card to them, especially if they're alive, but maybe even to a family member of the person if they've passed or whatever. And I think about the first time that I did that. And Jorge, the fella, he was a West Point graduate, first Gulf War, and he took me by the ear in probably 1998 or 1999 and says, "Wes, get your head out of your ass. You're better than this." Not literally, but figuratively. Sometimes later, literally. But I remember sending in that card, and in 2016, he was on a panel in a smaller group, about 115 or 120 folks from around the area in the Central Shenandoah Valley, and I watched my friend Terry in tears talking about that thank you card.
Yes.
And he's the rough and tough Army guy and all this stuff, and he's from Massachusetts too, so there's no emotion with that, and it is so impactful. Thank you for sharing that. That's huge.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
Cindy and I have been so blessed with the working relationship we've had with you and your organizations over the last several years. When we sat down over dinner one evening with you and Monica, your wife, to chat about the event coming up and said, "Hey, would you be interested in partnering with us on this?" You immediately said yes. Why was that?
Well, first of all, I want to give back to this wonderful state where we live now. I mean, we lived in Texas for 25 years. We raised our kids there 23 years, and now we're in Virginia. We've been here almost now for 5 years. And part one is to give back, right? To be part of the community, you have to give back. You have to give your time. Sometimes it's scarce, but whatever time you have, put it back there. I'll give you one example. I'm blessed that I'm part of the board of directors of the Laurel Ridge Community College Foundation. I used to spend a couple of hours over there in their campus talking uh, to the president, vice president, and to the foundation vice president. And I told her the same thing. It's like, I am so happy that you're allowing me to be here because it's a great, again, mission. My God, educating, the younger folks, and not that younger folks in the state, but also to be able to see what it means. So the same thing happens with you. You have a mission. You're very good at describing it, so I'm not going to make an effort to do that. But the way I see it is you are providing tools for folks to be better leaders. And if you're a better leader, it's not only that you're going to get a better job or you're going to get a better position. It's about, again, the mission. Why are you doing it? Why do you want to be a leader? And when you invited me to this first to very, very kindly to write forward for your new book, I said, of course I will do that, because there is a story to tell. And when I go to a conference like yours or any conference I participate, I'm always thinking about what is the story? What is the story I want to communicate? What is the storyboard, right? Why is that we're doing what we're doing? And I start picturing it in my head. And when you invited me to this conference, I'm like, this is the perfect opportunity for, first of all, to communicate to the people of the state where I live now, and to give back in that way, but also to be part of your mission, which is something you and Cindy are doing fantastic, and I appreciate to be part of it.
Well, like I said before, you're a huge blessing in our life. We appreciate the friendship we've built and look forward to continuing that, because, gosh, you're filling that mentor role for us. We cherish it. Um, I've talked a little bit about BR Printers and our relationship. What would you like to share about what you do? You've alluded to it, but is there anything specific that you'd like to really cast a vision so folks seeing this, hearing this, whatever, really understand? Here's what we do as a whole. Here's the people we serve.
Yeah, so we are a multi marketing firm, meaning that we serve several verticals. As I said, the core is book printing and distribution of printing materials, or procurement and distribution of printing materials. So think about um, elementary school books, children's books, readables, decodables, a lot of things that are being used today to educate America, which is fantastic. But we're also on the commercial print side. We do a lot of mailings, a lot of commercial print, such as the ones you receive on the mail. We also have a fantastic operation called Casa del Mar, which is a promo company that does this kind of promotional materials. And the greatest honor of this job is that it's a company that it has been in business for 32 years. It's privately held by a family that I have become very attached to, because they also have a mission, and that's a topic for another day. But what I see, and the honor comes that I am the first non-family CEO of this company. So it's an honor, but at the same time, it's a huge commitment, and something that I really think about a lot, because I've worked for privately for companies that are in the stock market, for public companies, and the mission doesn't change, but the flavor changes. And here you are very much connected on a day-to-day basis, not only to the board I report to, but also to my management team, to the sales team, to the manufacturing team. The greatest part of this job is that you're able to, put together a strategy or objectives and goals that then we discuss as a team and then we follow passionately. And some of my team members are going to watch this and they are going to say, yeah, I know what you mean by passion, which is, sometimes, and this is part of leadership, sometimes these are hard conversations. Sometimes there are disagreements. Sometimes, the blood pressure might go up a little bit. And it's okay. If you keep it within the boundaries of respect, and the boundaries that we're all in this, we're all humans, right? And my father-in-law, who was in the hotel business, used to say, everyone cooks with water, right? And, basically his way of saying, he was a big German guy, his way of saying, even though I get upset sometimes, I'm at the same level as the guy that is, in his case, making the beds in the hotels. So it's a great honor to be part of a company that you lead and that you have, people looking at you and saying, okay, so what's next? And that's what we're doing right now.
Well, you mentioned Casa del Mar specifically, and I'll say I'm excited about everything we get to do for the event. I'm over the moon excited for every attendee to see some of the assets that Mary specifically has been helping us create and put together for the event, because it's going to be some world-class stuff that people get that I don't know that I've seen in Virginia as a whole. So thank you for helping us make that connection and being able to move the needle in that direction. It's going to be really fun.
Thank you.
So you've alluded to this a little bit, but is there a specific project or campaign that you'd want to talk about that BR Printers as a whole has maybe spearheaded to impact a community?
So I would say right now, we make donations to several publishing organizations. There is one that is dear to my heart, which is head by Scholastic, the very large publisher of Harry Potter fame. But of course, they have many other assets in their publishing arm. They are very big on children's books, as a lot of people know, and they have a foundation that is dedicated to provide funds to young artists. Poets and Writers is the name of the event that we support every year. And it's a wonderful event because what Scholastic does is they ask young writers, artists, meaning music, meaning painting, meaning poetry, to participate. And then they pick a number of young folks as winners of this, I want to call it contest, but it's not a contest, of this award, to an award ceremony. And the award ceremony is in Carnegie Hall. And on the board, if you've ever been in Carnegie Hall, it's rather small. I mean, at the end of the day, but the seat part, the bottom part, is full of the students and the younger folks that have won an award. And then on the balconies, it's all the people that, work for the foundation that has donated money. It is, and they do a great job. I mean, it's a great ceremony. It is such a pleasure to know that you are providing funds and some other ways to donate for such a great organization that is promoting, writing. It's promoting arts at the younger age and at the younger generations. So we're very proud of participating with Scholastic on this every year. I've been participating with previous companies for many years, and we will be there again in the third week of June. And I'm looking forward to that ceremony because it means a lot to me.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to what my friend said about we'll never know this side of heaven, what the impact is. And that's truly an example. You'll never know the impact that you make on the different students that are a part of that. Wow, what a cool story. Jorge, you mentioned something really neat. I've worked for publicly traded companies as well, and it's been so much more for me. It's not that one's good or bad, but for me, it's been more fulfilling to be engaged with the closely held family-owned companies because I can see where it's really driving. What was it for you about the purpose of BR Printers when you accepted the position and how it aligned with your personal values and purpose that really made it appealing?
Right. First of all, the set of the verticals that we touch, so it aligned perfectly with my love of books and my love of education and trade, fiction, nonfiction. So that was part one. Part two was the team. I got to meet a lot of the leadership team before I even accepted this job, and I was very impressed by the energy, the ingenuity, right? I mean, when you are a smaller mid-sized company, you don't have the resources that the big companies have from a money and from a say research and development perspective. Yet this group of professionals created certain tools in our industry that were groundbreaking. So that impressed me a lot, and the fact that the ownership of the company really started from zero 35 40 years ago, and they have created a family desk or private equity family desk that is very, very impressive. And so those three factors were very important to me. Also the freedom that I was promised and that I'm experiencing to manage the business and to promote what we are trying to do here is being very refreshing. Uh, not I'm not saying that what I did before was bad. It's just different, right?
Yeah.
When you work, and many of your listeners are going to relate to this, when you work for a mid-size company, regardless of how many zeros are in your net sales, but you are not supported by a big, large corporation, right? There are days. There are days. Every day you're looking at cash flow. You're looking at, okay, if I'm going to invest $5 million on this, how am I going to pay for it? Who's going to support it? So that level of intimacy, if you will, to the day to day, is another reason why I'm doing this. Is because it's different. It's in my case, it came at the right time in my career, in my experience, in my personal life. You mentioned Monica, and thank you for that. And here's my plug to Monica. If not, she's gonna hit me in the head. But those flowers right behind me is because we celebrated 32 years of marriage yesterday. So go Monica, and God bless you. But so it is all of that, right? It is all of the team. And when I mentioned my wife, my God, you and Cindy, team, right? Team Velasco Brown, that's her maiden name. Team BR. And the first thing we did at BR when we came in was to say we have 7 different companies. We have to be one BR, and that was the other reason. The other reason is to promote, to be able to go and say it's one BR. And 10 months into it, I believe that we're seeing the results of that. So
As you shared that, there were so many different things that went through my head. The one that I'm going to close on, I won't share them all, is we watched Mark Cole, who you'll get to meet on June 13th. He now he's been John Maxwell's CEO for a number of years, but we watched Mark do that same thing because John owned 7 different companies. When Mark ownership of the companies, even having been CEO of those companies for years, he said the same thing. We're one team. And they've rebranded to Maxwell Leadership and so on. But I'm so excited about the synergy and being able to make that introduction between you and Mark at the event for a lot of reasons. But that's one that excites me for right now.
looking forward to it.
Jorge, I'll bring this to a close with a final question. You're making a tremendous impact on a lot of people in your organization, but I see you intentionally doing it with a lot of other folks. What advice would you give to somebody that's newer in their career? And gosh, I'm watching it. You do it with your son-in-law to be. I got to meet him a few months back and so on. What advice would you give to an aspiring young professional about how they can really advance in their career and really latch on to leadership and take that responsibility?
Yeah. Interesting you say that, because I had a conversation with my COO, a wonderful professional, David Gall, who was just promoted to COO for the whole company. I hope he doesn't mind that I tell the world that he's 20 years younger than I am, and I told him, I said, if I was talking to the Jorge of that is 35 years or 36 years old, I will tell him two things. First of all, the cake you have in front of you, you don't have to eat it all at the same time because you're gonna get indigestion. So take it one piece at a time. It's one small piece of the cake at a time. Enjoy it if you can. And if you cannot enjoy it, because sometimes the cake, is not of the flavor you want to have, just embrace it. And there is many ways to say what I just said in other ways, but embrace the fact that not every time is going to be perfect. So that's number one. Number two, if I was talking to me 30 years ago, I would say balance. You have to find a balance. I didn't when I was, younger. Right, wrong, indifferent. I wish I had. Do I regret it? Probably not as much as I should, but balance your life and your work. That balance is very important. And I think COVID brought us to, a very, very interesting moment where many of us decided that, you cannot be at work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And then the third thing is choose your team wisely. I would say I'm blessed again because I inherited a great team. We did some changes and we have had two fantastic people that have come to work for us in the past 8 months that I'm blessed. Our Chief Sales Officer, Robert Testa, and our Chief HR Officer, Mariel Angers. Thank God, they came on board. But choose your team wisely. And many years ago, I was in a conference that Lou Holtz gave. And I don't know much about college basketball, but I know who Lou Holtz is, or college football, college basketball. And he said, when I pick a team member, I ask 3 simple questions. One is, can I trust you? Are you committed? And are you going to be ready for the challenge? If the answer is yes to those 3, you're in. That's it. That's all I need to know. And that stuck with me for so many years. And of course, I'm laughing because, of course, Lou Holtz is Notre Dame's legendary football coach. I was thinking basketball because it's March Madness coming. But here is the thing, right? Is pick your team, balance. Don't try to do it all in the first year of your leadership position.
Yeah. Jorge, that's amazing. I got chills as you shared that because I remember in either 2000 or 2001, I saw Lou Holtz speak as well and how impactful. And I could take you through, if we had time, the different quotes that I still remember 25 years later from Lou Holtz. And I'm not a big college sports. I'm not a sports fan at all, but it was impactful and it translated to life. So, Jorge, this has been amazing. We could do this for days. I don't want to monopolize your time, though. I appreciate you deeply. The friendship, the business relationship that we have, I look forward to being a blessing. And we want to work hard to legitimize the partnership, not a sponsorship for the event, because we want to make sure that you get tremendous value from being with us, not only as a panel, but being represented, some of your team members coming in and so on. Thank you for the time today. In closing, for the folks listening and watching this, one of the things I always do, and I neglected to share at the beginning, we offer a complimentary access to a resource that Cindy and I've created. It started in late 2018. Today, there's about 150, 160 hours worth of digital resources in this. If you'd like to kick the tires, you need continuing education credit, whatever that may be, shoot me an email at admin@dove-development.net, and I'll be happy to hook you up with a 45-day all-access trial to this resource. We do some live lessons in it as well. If it helps, we'd love to do that. If it doesn't, God bless you. It's okay. Again, Jorge, thanks again for the time. We look forward to seeing you in person in a few months, hopefully sooner, but definitely in a few months. We appreciate you very much, sir.
Thank you very much for the invitation. Thank you to all your listeners and viewers. And my final plug is brprinters.com. If you want to know more about our company, we'll be very happy to talk to you. Thank you, Wes. All the best.
Thank you, sir.